This session we will discuss about epsilon NFA to DFA, whereas in the last session we have discussed about epsilon NFA to NFA and NFA to DFA. Here today we are discussing about epsilon NFA to the DFA conversion. So here the given question, so we have the epsilon NFA. So for this epsilon NFA we have to directly convert to the DFA. We can also do the process converting first from epsilon NFA to the NFA. Second, that NFA you can convert to the DFA. So here directly we are taking how we are converting epsilon NFA to the DFA. So the same procedure what we have done epsilon NFA to the NFA. So first we will identify the epsilon closures for all the states, like epsilon closure of Q naught, epsilon closure of Q1, epsilon closure of Q2. So first we will see what is the epsilon closure of Q naught. Q naught on epsilon transitions. We have Q naught to Q1. Q1 on epsilon transition we have Q2. So coming to the epsilon closure Q naught, on the same state itself we have the epsilon closure value. So Q naught, the same state, that is Q naught. Q naught to Q1 on epsilon transition we are reaching to the Q1. So write as Q1. Q1 on epsilon transition we are reaching to the Q2. Write it as Q2. Q2, again we don't have any epsilon transition. Stop it here. Now the epsilon closure of Q naught is Q naught, Q1, Q2. Now go to the next state Q1. Find the epsilon closure of Q1. So the same state itself, that is the Q1. Again from Q1 we have the epsilon transition to the Q2. Go with the Q2. Q2 we don't have any epsilon transition, so stop it. Next again from Q2 we don't have any epsilon transition. Don't give it as 5 because it is the same state itself is the epsilon closure. So for the Q2, write as Q2. Now we have done the for all the states Q naught, Q1, Q2, the epsilon closure transition. Now not only the epsilon NFA to the NFA, so directly convert this epsilon NFA to the DFA for the simple formula. First we have to assume it as Q naught, Q1, Q2 as the new state. This I am assuming with the alphabet capital A. We can take any alphabet, but just I am assuming with the capital A. So we have the states Q naught, Q1, Q2. As of the epsilon closure of Q naught we have to perform. So we have Q naught, Q1, Q2 as the new state. I am making it as the new state, that is the capital A. Now we have to perform for the capital A. That means, so we have to perform the indirect transition for the input alphabet small a and small b. First we will do the delta dash of capital A on input alphabet small a. That means delta dash of a comma a. The formula is epsilon closure of delta of a comma a. Epsilon closure of delta of what is capital A? That is Q naught, Q1, Q2. So write Q naught, Q1, Q2, comma small a. Simply, whereas in epsilon NFA to NFA, again we have taken the indirect transition and the epsilon closure. But is it directly epsilon NFA to the DFA? We have to take the new states and we have to perform the operation. Whenever we don't have any the new state, so we will stop the operation here. So same like that. So A we have the new state. So we are performing on capital A with the input alphabet small a, and we will do next for the small b itself. Next, see here epsilon closure of delta of Q naught comma a union delta of Q1 comma a union delta of Q2 comma a. This Q1, Q naught, Q1, Q2 and applying with the input alphabet A. Now we will see the transitions. Delta of Q naught comma a, that means the transition of from Q naught on input alphabet A. So we don't have the transition. We have B and epsilon transition. We don't have A. Coming to the delta of Q1 comma A. On Q1 the input alphabet A, we have the same state transition, same state itself, that is Q1, and again we don't have any transitions. And Q2 comma A, Q2 comma A, we have the epsilon A transition to the Q1. That means phi union Q1 union Q1. That means epsilon closure of Q1 itself, right? So epsilon closure of Q1, we know the value of epsilon closure of Q1. Epsilon closure of Q1 is Q1 comma Q2. Same step we have to perform for the input alphabet B also. So delta dash of A comma small b. That means apply the formula epsilon closure of delta of A comma B. What is A? A means we have taken it as the new state, right, after epsilon closure of Q0. So that is Q0, Q1, Q2. Take the transitions. Delta of Q0 comma B union delta of Q1 comma B union delta of Q2 comma B. Delta of Q0 comma B. Q0 on B transition, we have the same state, that is Q0 union Q1 on input alphabet B. So we don't have the transition Q1 on input alphabet B. Phi Q2 on input alphabet B. Q2 on input alphabet B, the transition goes to Q0. So that is Q0. So Q0 union phi union Q0, Q0 itself. So that means epsilon closure of Q0, that is epsilon closure of Q0 is Q0, Q1, Q2. Now observe the transitions on the state capital A on input alphabet A, we have the state Q1 comma Q2. On capital A on the input alphabet B, the state we have Q0, Q1, Q2. The same Q0, Q1, Q2, that is capital A, that already we have performed the operation, that delta of dash of A comma A and A comma B. So that means this is already we have done. Come here. So we have the again new state Q1 comma Q2 that we have not done up to 8. So make it as B. Make it as B. Now write down the operations. So once again in the transition function delta dash of A comma A, that is moving to, so Q1 comma Q2, that is B. Delta dash of A comma B, that we have reached it as Q0, Q1, Q2, that is A. Now we will perform for the new state. That is delta dash of B comma A. So that means epsilon closure of delta of B comma A. So what is epsilon closure of B? Epsilon closure of, so delta of B means, so B we have taken it as Q1 comma Q2. So Q1 comma it is, that is the new transition that we, the state that we have got from the delta dash of A comma A. That is epsilon closure of delta of Q1 comma A union delta of Q2 comma A. So delta of Q1 comma A, Q1 comma A, so we have the same transition, that is Q1 union Q2 comma A. Q2 on input alphabet A, again we have Q1 itself. That means we have epsilon closure of Q1. The epsilon closure of Q1 is Q1 comma Q2. This what is Q1 comma Q2? Q1 comma Q2 already we have assumed it as B. That means B itself, the B state itself. Again delta dash of B comma B. Now apply the formula epsilon closure of delta of B comma B. What is B? B means Q1 comma Q2. So that means delta of, apply the union operation, delta of Q1 comma B union delta of Q2 comma B. Q1 comma B. Q1 on input alphabet B, we don't have any transition. We have only A and the epsilon transition. So phi union Q2 on input alphabet B. Q2, the transition we have up to the Q0, and we don't have any one more transition. We have only the Q0 transition. So that means epsilon closure of Q0. Epsilon closure of Q0 means that is Q0, Q1, Q2. Q0, Q1, Q2. That is the transition Q0, Q1, Q2. That already we have assumed it as the A state. Now look here. On the new state B, so we have performed small a and small b, that is the alphabets, input alphabets. So we have delta dash of B comma A, we have reached it to the new state, that is the B itself. And delta dash of B comma B, we have reached the state, that is A itself. We don't have the one more new state. Already we have assumed Q0, Q1, Q2, capital A. On capital A, we have done the small a and small b input alphabets, but we have received, that is capital B, capital A. So now write down for delta dash of B comma A. So we have Q1 comma Q2, but we know that already we assumed it as B. So delta dash of B comma B. So we came to Q0, Q1, Q2, that is A. So here we don't have any the new state. So stop here and we will go with the transition diagram. So we have only the two states A and B. So here capital A on input alphabet small a, we reach to the B. Here on capital A on input alphabet small b, we reach to the capital A itself. So write it as B. Next, B, the state B, we have the input alphabet small a, we reach to B itself. On input alphabet B and from the state capital B, we reach to A. So now look at the diagram. It is, we have the single state transition. So from capital A to the input alphabet A, we have the single state B. On input alphabet B, we have the same state capital A. So coming to the next state capital B, so we have the input alphabet small a, we have the self state, and B, that is reached to the capital A. So we have the DFA here. That means, so whenever we have drawn this DFA, we have to make the initial state as well as the end state. So how we will define the end state? So here Q2, so as according to the given question, Q2 is the final state. So where we have reached this Q2? So Q2 we have reached in the Q2, 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 Q2. We have reached in all the states, right? In A and B. So make B as the final state. Make A is also the final state. So here, this we have taken it as the B. This is the DFA. That means we have converted this epsilon NFA to DFA. Whereas in the first step, we have converted this epsilon NFA to the epsilon closures of all the states. And we have got the new state as capital A. And we have done the operations for delta dash of A comma A and A comma B. So we got this B and A. And again, so here we have the B as the new state. So we have done for the B comma A and B comma B. So we reach to again B and A itself. We don't have any new states. So we have stopped this and we have given this DFA diagram. This is the epsilon NFA to the DFA.